Hello everyone, welcome to our channel Lessons of Life. In this video, we are going to discuss the problem Toketsukaze in the all zero sequence that appeared in the recent Codeforces round 789 division 2. So the problem statement goes as follows. Toketsukaze has a sequence A of length n. For each operation, she selects two numbers ai and aj, I not equal to j. If ai is equal to aj, change one of them to 0. That means if the selected elements are equal, then we can change either of them to 0. Otherwise, change both of them to minimum of ai and aj. If the selected elements are not equal, we can change both of them to the minimum of the two numbers. She wants to know the minimum number of operations to change all numbers in the sequence to 0. Okay. Now our target is to change all the numbers in the sequence equal to 0. Let us see the input format. The first line of the input contains an integer n, the number of the elements of the array, and second line contains the actual elements of the array. Output format, we have to print a single integer, the minimum number of operations to change all the numbers in the sequence to 0. Okay. If we see the test cases, in the first test case, we are given 3 elements 1, 2 and 3. Since none of the elements of the sequence are equal, we have to select the first two elements 1 and 2 and we will make them equal. That means the number of the elements will become 1 and 1. After that, we can select either of them and we will make it to 0. After making it to 0, we will make the remaining two elements to 0. So the total number of operations will be 4. So in the solution of this question, we have two cases. Case first, when there is at least one 0 in the array. Okay. So if we have at least one 0 in the array, as in this example, what we can do is we can always select that element as the first element and any other element as a second element. So we can make the other element to equal to 0. For example, if in the given example we select 0 and 1, then with the help of operation number second, otherwise change both of them to the minimum of ai and aj. So if we select 0 and 1, we can change 1 also to 0. In the similar way, we need to only to count the number of non-zero elements, and that will be the answer, as we need only the that many number of elements to make all the elements in the array to equal to 0. So case second, when there is no 0 in the array. When there is no 0 in the array, we need to create a 0. Okay, so why do we need to create a 0? We need to create a 0 because with the help of that 0 itself, we are going to reduce the other elements of the array to 0. So we need at least 0 in the array. And to create that 0, we need at least two elements of the array to be equal, because in the question it is stated that if any two elements of the array are equal, then we can change one of them to 0. So we need any two elements of the array to be equal if we are not having any 0. Suppose in this case we are having two elements to be equal, this 4 and this 4. So we can reduce one of them to 0. So now we are having at least one 0 in the array, and now we can proceed as we have in the case first. But if we are not having any two elements of the array to be equal, then we need to spend one extra operation to make two elements to be equal. For example, if this is our array, in this array we are not having any two elements of the array to be equal. So we need to spend at least one extra operation to make two elements to be equal. Suppose we select 8 and 2, and the result of the operation will we change the two element to the minimum of the two element, which is 2. Now, after selecting these 2 and 2, we can reduce one of them to 0. Now we are having at least one element of the array to be 0, and by which we can proceed as in the case first. Okay, this is the solution to the problem. First, I have taken the input for the test cases, and then I have taken the input for the n, the number of elements, and then I have taken the input for the elements of the array. Now I have used the map. I used a map to store the frequency of each and every element of the array. I am traversing all the elements and I am increasing the frequency of the elements of the array. Why I have stored the frequency? Because I need to check if I have any two elements of the array to be equal. So if I have the frequency of any element of the array is greater than 1, then it means that that particular element has occurred more than one time in the array. That means at least 2 elements of the array are same. Then I use the temp variable, which will mean that no two particular elements of the array are equal. Now I have traversed the array from 0 to n. I have checked if the frequency of any of the element is greater than 1, then temp will be made equal to 1. That means yes, I have any at least 2 elements of the array to be equal, and I have initialized my answer variable to 0. Now I am counting the number of my non-zero elements, because the number of non-zero elements will be my answer, because I need to reduce them to 0. I am increasing the count of my answer, and then I have checked if my the frequency of 0 is greater than 0. That means if my 0 has occurred at least once in the array, then my answer will be the number of non-zero elements. Otherwise, if my 0 has not occurred in the array, then I need to check if any two elements of the array are equal, then my answer will be the number of non-zero elements. Otherwise, I need to expand one extra operation to make two elements of the array equal. Therefore, my answer will be answer plus 1.